folks, how are you? Welcome back from the holiday weekend and good Monday morning. This is Michael on the third shift in the wee hours of the night with your daily trivia question once again. And for those of you who are coming back to the grind this week, as it were, welcome back. And for anybody else who's like stuck in an airport somewhere or can't get back home because of travel issues, then please be safe and get home as soon as you can. Easy for me to say. Yes, indeed. Entirely too much coffee. Anywho, the answer to the previous trivia question was, of course, the railroad industry. Railroad and the railroad industry have been featured on many trivia questions in the past here in the wee hours of the night. So in this case, in late 1917, President Woodrow Wilson issued an order for the federal government to take possession of or nationalize the entire railroad system during World War I. This act was considered one of the broadest acts of presidential power. Congress and the Wilson administration had for a long time had issues with the railroad industry's economic problems, labor struggles. They had tried to intervene many times leading up to this, and this was due because of to problems that involved shipping rates, rate caps, a lot of strike and union issues. This is when the 8-hour workday was implemented, which was one of the trivia questions earlier on in the year, by the way. FYI, little geek factoid there. The railroad system faltered under the heavy demands of a wartime economy in 1970. That was kind of like the climax, the culmination of all these problems. This resulted in materials being unable to be loaded and shipped on trains. In short, the railroad system was not up to the task of supporting the war effort, plain and simple. A lot of these cars, some of the pictures that you see there on the right-hand side, a lot of these cars were just basically parked, and they became parked storage facilities, basically, is what how the railroad industry really became. So it required President Woodrow Wilson and Congress's intervention. President Wilson issued a declaration that he had nationalized the railroad system. The Secretary of War and Treasury Secretary would take possession and administer the country's railroad industry through what became known as the United States Railroad Administration, the USRA. So during this time, services were streamlined. Services were consolidated basically into 3 divisions, East, West, and South. And a significant amount of inessential travel was eliminated. Railroad carts, a huge number of railroad carts were constructed, were built, manufactured using standardized regulations. The railways remained under the federal control all the way until 1920. The nationalized railroad system of the United States was the largest American experiment with nationalization, with government possession, and it significantly increased the government's power over the railroads. There's a lot of history in the railroads in the United States and the railroad industry in general. All right, let's get back to it, folks. That brings us to today's trivia question for December 27th. This is the last week of the year on this day in 1944. Speaking of the government taking possession, let's continue with that concept. As World War II dragged on, and in light of a refusal to comply with a labor agreement, President Roosevelt orders the federal government to seize properties belonging to this retail company, declaring that the government would, quote, not tolerate any interference with wartime production in this critical hour. The only hint I'm going to give you is that last week, this company was featured in a trivia question. Good luck, folks. Let's have a mellow Monday. Let's just ease into it, shall we? Peace out.